This month, Rockstar Games not only dropped the first trailer for the highly anticipated GTA sequel, but is also celebrating its anniversary. One reason for me to take a detailed look at the past 25 years in this video: a lot has happened since 1998, and no, it hasn't all been about GTA, even though many certainly feel that Rockstar has only been resting on GTA 5 since 2013. So let's take a look back at 25 years of Rockstar Games together. How many studios are currently active and which games has each studio developed? You will find a few familiar faces, but I am sure you will also recognize games that you have long forgotten. So let's not waste any time and get started. Have fun! Rockstar Games is unparalleled among publishers when it comes to high-quality action games set in expansive open worlds, which are among the best we have seen in the industry so far. Rockstar earned this status. In my research, I noticed 3 milestones over the past 25 years. At first, Rockstar Games tried its hand as a publisher of many games across various genres that were released for all kinds of consoles and handhelds. It was only in the early 2000s that a handful of franchises crystallized, which Rockstar would continue to expand until finally achieving a major success with GTA 5 in 2013. So let's start with the first phase of the company and take a look at it. Although Rockstar Games was founded in 1998, the success story of the two brothers who would become the face of the studio began in 1990. At that time, young Sam Houser began his work at BMG, a relatively young music label of the Bertelsmann Group, which was established in 1986 after acquiring a majority stake in the New York RCA Records label. A year later, Dan Houser, Sam's younger brother, joined BMG. Shortly thereafter, a new multimedia department was established there, as Bertelsmann set its sights not only on the music business but also on the film industry and, more importantly, the video game industry. In 1995, BMG Interactive was founded, a publishing label of Bertelsmann, and the two Houser brothers quickly became sought-after leaders. In 1996, they stumbled upon the development studio DMA Design and their prototype Race Chase, which was being developed for PC as well as consoles at the time. The Houser brothers liked Race Chase. Although DMA Design was not making much progress in programming at the time, Sam and Dan Houser secured the distribution rights. When a random programming error caused the police in the top-down racing game to act far too aggressively and brutally against the players, it marked the birth of a game that would be released in 1997 as Grand Theft Auto for PC and PlayStation 1. Subsequently, DMA Design began working on a Saturn and Nintendo 64 port, but the versions were cancelled when the studio was acquired by the Gremlin Group in 1997. In 2001, DMA Design lost its independence, but the rights to GTA remained with the publisher BMG Interactive. In March 1998, Bertelsmann had had enough of the video game industry and sold its video game division for $14.2 million to Take-Two Interactive. With the purchase, all intellectual property also transferred to Take-Two, including GTA from DMA Design. From then on, discussions took place between Take-Two and the Houser brothers, as the two wanted to remain in the industry at all costs, even if it meant parting ways with Bertelsmann. In the summer of 1998, Take-Two also acquired the studio Spidersoft Limited and renamed it Tarantula Studios. This may not seem particularly important at the moment, but remember the name now, as the studio will become very important for Rockstar Games and all its games. Initially, however, Tarantula was tasked with developing games for the Game Boy and Game Boy Color, such as Montezuma's Return and Reds, which were released under Tech. Around the same time, another studio at Tech called Alternative Reality Technologies, which Take-Two had already acquired in 1997, was developing 2 GTA add-ons. Alternate Reality Technologies was also set to become the first studio to be part of a new publisher label under Take-Two, which was founded in December 1998 in New York. Rockstar Games, Sam Houser and Dan Houser received important leadership positions at Rockstar Games, and Alternative Reality Technologies was subsequently renamed to Rockstar Canada. At that time, the studio was finalizing 2 add-ons for Grand Theft Auto, as the top-down open-world game was gaining more and more popularity, prompting Take-Two to provide fans with more content the following year. In 1999, Rockstar Games really got its business underway. At the same time, news circulated in March that Infogrames had purchased the Gremlin Group for $24 million, which also meant that DMA Design's work on the successful Grand Theft Auto now belonged to Infogrames. At least Infogrames did not interfere with DMA Design, who were already diligently working on a GTA sequel. In April, Rockstar Games released its first product under its publishing label, GTA Mission Pack 1, London 1969, which was developed by Rockstar Canada and sent players back to 1969 on PC and PlayStation 1, where numerous missions and plenty of chaos awaited. The PS version was not developed directly by Rockstar Canada, but by Runecraft. In July, Rockstar Games followed up by releasing two new games. First, GTA Mission Pack. London 1961 was released, which was the second add-on for GTA, with the bonus missions being exclusive to PC players this time. On the Nintendo 64, it was time to hit the track again as Monster Truck Madness 64 started. The racing game was developed by Edge of Reality and did not receive a particularly positive response from fans and the press. 2 months later, Rockstar Games made headlines when it was announced that they had purchased the studio DMA Design from Infogrames for $11 million, mind you. Considering what DMA Design would go on to achieve, it was an absolute bargain. And DMA Design got right to work, because when GTA 2 was released for PC and PlayStation 1 in October, this time also under Rockstar Games, another hit was on the way. Unfortunately, the same could not be said for Earth from Jim D. Rockstar Games was once again just the publisher, but the jump and run game became the second consecutive flop for the New Yorkers on the Nintendo 64, which certainly contributed to avoiding Nintendo's consoles altogether soon after. At least the Game Boy Color port of the first GTA installment fared somewhat better when it launched in Europe in October. Developed by Tarantula Studios, Game Boy Color owners received the open-world spin-off for their pocket, marking the beginning of a long tradition. But those were not the only games distributed by Rockstar in 1999. In November, a trend sports game called Thresher, Skate and Destroy was released, developed by Z-Axis, while Tarantula Studios celebrated the release of Evel Knievel. And if these games don't mean anything to you now, you're not alone. Neither Thrasher nor Evel Knievel really managed to impress and were rightly forgotten quickly. Thus, 8 games were released in the first year of Rockstar Games, which was quite a strong output for a young publisher, even though it was certainly the GTA Mission Packs and GTA 2 that stood out the most. The new millennium began for Rockstar fans with Wild Metal, which was released in February for the Dreamcast and developed by DMA Design. Unlike GTA, Wild Metal focused on straightforward action, which fit very well into Sega's Dreamcast game library. The game was also available on PC, but the PC original was released earlier and came through Gremlin. In April, GTA 2 was released on the Dreamcast. Also developed by DMA Design, the Dreamcast version of Bread 2 was able to impress, even if the improvements compared to the PlayStation 1 version were somewhat limited. Nevertheless, it was a sign that Rockstar was able to position its successful series on other systems. September brought 2 more Game Boy Color games from Tarantula Studios. These were actually licensed adaptations based on the popular Austin Powers films of that time. The 2 games were not really good, as they consisted of simple mini-games and a bit of Powers trivia. But then October came, and oh boy, Rockstar Games really delivered this time, even doubling down. Through a deal with Angel Studios, which had already made a name for itself in the past, 2 racing games were launched on the brand new PlayStation 2, Smuggler's Run and Midnight Club Street Racing. The former was an off-road racing game with vast areas where the goal was to safely deliver smuggled goods, while Midnight Club transported players into the world of tuning and street racing long before the mainstream caught on through Fast and Furious. Midnight Club shone with 2 open locations, New York and London. The races were quite arcade-like and the gameplay was smooth. The only drawbacks were the graphics and the controls, which left something to be desired. Due to the fact that both games were launched with the PlayStation 2, their success was also reflected in the sales figures. The Midnight Club alone sold exceptionally well, signaling to Rockstar Games that they had a very hot property on their hands that should be further developed. Just 1 day after the release of Smuggler's Run and Midnight Club, Rockstar Games raised the bar by releasing Surfing H on the PlayStation 2, which was developed this time by a studio called Opus. Unfortunately, Surfing Age 0 turned out to be a flop, as the game offered very little content aside from a rudimentary control scheme. Aside from a tournament mode and a 2-player mode, there was nothing to keep PlayStation 2 owners engaged. In 2001, before the year ended, Rockstar Games honored Game Boy Color owners with a version of GTA 2. It was already suspected that Tarantula Studios' Grand Theft Auto had sold well, which is why Rockstar decided to port the sequel, much to the delight of handheld fans. Everyone else played GTA 2 on PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, or PC. In my opinion, the year 2000 marked the end of Rockstar's first phase on its journey to becoming one of the best and most important publishers in the video game industry. From 1998 to the end of 2000, the New Yorkers experimented with many things, having games developed by internal studios at Take-Two or distributing projects from other third-party developers. Some developed into bestsellers such as GTA 2 or Midnight Club, while others flopped and were soon forgotten. The coming year was set to become one of the most important in Rockstar Games' history, significantly influencing the publisher's success and future direction. However, Rockstar Games did not take a break and delivered the next PlayStation 2 game in January 2001. Oni was actually developed by Bungie West, at least on the PC. The PlayStation 2 version was developed by Rockstar Canada, which impressed with the 2 GTA mission packs in 1999. Oni was also a very good action-adventure game on the PlayStation 2 once you got used to the controls. In fact, Oni was so successful that Rockstar Games commissioned a sequel. Unfortunately, the project could not materialize and was soon cancelled. Additionally, Take-Two went on a shopping spree again in January and acquired Neo Software Productions, a studio that we will discuss more frequently throughout this video. After the purchase in January, Neo Software Productions was tasked with porting Max Payne to the PlayStation 2. The developers didn't have much time for this in 2001, as Rockstar wanted to release the game in December. However, before that could happen, 2 absolute hits were released in October. First, DMA Design released Grand Theft Auto 3, turning an entire industry upside down. Upon its release, one controversy followed another. Politicians wanted to ban the game and news programs were overflowing with reports warning parents. All of this only led to GTA 3 becoming an absolute phenomenon, but the game itself was certainly not lacking in quality. It offered a huge open world and the freedom for players to do anything they wanted outside of the story missions. And that in stylish D, the outdated look of the 2 predecessors was a thing of the past, and GTA 3 truly exploded, in terms of popularity and sales. Use and caused the second release in October to be almost overlooked. Angel Studios released Smuggler's Run 2, the second installment of their extensive off-road racing series, and improved the game in every aspect. The missions were more varied, the controls finer, and the levels more expansive. A game that not only racing game fans had to check out. And as if Grand Theft Auto 3 in October wasn't enough, Rockstar ended the year 2001 with the release of Max Payne 2, at least when we talk about the console versions. Neo Software Productions managed to port the PC original to the PlayStation 2 in just 11 months, while Rockstar Canada was responsible for the Xbox version. Max Payne also became a hit, which brought Rockstar Games not only more prestige but also more money into the coffers. In addition to GTA and Midnight Club, the publisher from New York has already counted 3 popular and highly rated franchises after just 3 years. The first Rockstar game of 2002 was State of Emergency, which was set to be released in February, at least for the PlayStation 2. The Xbox and PC versions were set to follow a year later, while unfortunately the GameCube was left completely empty. The game was developed by Viz Entertainment, who had previously attempted Earth from Jim D in 1999 and had failed miserably. Fortunately, State of Emergency performed better, even though the action game lacked much substance for professionals. However, the exaggerated depiction of violence and the entertaining action, which was spread across 2 game modes, provided a good amount of entertainment and resulted in quite respectable ratings, leading to over 1.7 million units sold worldwide. In May, Rockstar surprised everyone with the Italian Job, which was released for the good old PlayStation 1 and developed by Pixel Logic Limited, with Rockstar handling distribution only in the USA. The racing game was based on the 1969 film of the same name and offered 2 freely explorable locations, London and Turin, which could certainly be a reason why Rockstar Games was interested in the game. Unfortunately, the reviews were mixed and the Italian Job faded into obscurity. More exciting was the name change that took place behind the scenes. In May, DMA Design was officially integrated into the Rockstar family and renamed Rockstar North. Thus, the GTA developers were the second official Rockstar studio after Rockstar Canada, which would also soon receive a new name. In August, Take-Two acquired the Canadian developer Barking Dog Studios and renamed it Rockstar Vancouver. The new studio immediately got to work and began developing a game that would not be released before 2006. To avoid confusion with Rockstar Canada, Take-Two simultaneously renamed Rockstar Canada to Rockstar. So, can you still follow me? In addition to Rockstar North, the creators of GTA, there were 2 other Rockstar studios, both based in Canada, that focused on completely different things. But let's stay briefly in August, as Angel Studios released Smuggler's Run Warzones for the GameCube this month. The racing game was a slightly improved and expanded version of the second installment, which was released a year earlier for the PlayStation 2, and it was just as much fun. I even go so far as to say that Smuggler's Run is one of the best racing games on the GameCube. Unfortunately, very few GameCube fans played it, which would certainly be a reason why Smuggler's Run Warzones would become the only and last Rockstar game on the console. In October, the next hit for Rockstar Games and Rockstar North followed, Grand Theft Vice City. The new game world, its years of flair, and the sheer variety in the open world were responsible for Vice City being celebrated even more than its already very successful predecessor. With this game at the latest, Rockstar Games could be sure that they had two cash cows in their portfolio with the GTA franchise and Rockstar North. In November, there was an expansion at the Rockstar Studios. The Angel Studios were renamed to Rockstar San Diego by Take-Two and were to continue focusing on high-quality racing games. Aside from that, there was a third-person shooter that was supposed to be developed in collaboration with Capcom, but it was put on hold at Capcom when Rockstar acquired Angel Studios, but more on that later. By the way, the Tarantula Studios, you remember, were the developers of the numerous Game Boy Color games from Take-Two, and in 2002 they were literally dismantled. Take-Two separated the development branch from quality assurance and closed the doors to the developers at Tarantula Studios. The remaining employees who stayed in quality assurance were renamed by Take-Two to Rockstar Lincoln, with the purpose of taking care of the quality assurance and localization of all upcoming Rockstar games that were to be released in the European market. This made Rockstar Lincoln the first and only internal studio that was not actively involved in game development, yet it played an equally important role. In 2003, Rockstar Games had 3 new releases, but a few more ports were yet to follow. First, however, Take-Two stepped in and renamed M&AO Software Productions to Rockstar Vienna. The Vienna studio was tasked with porting GTA 3 and Vice City for the Xbox. Both games were to be available in stores in time for the Christmas shopping season. In March, the Xbox port of State of Emergency was released, and although the Xbox version offered improved graphics, the game performed well below expectations. While the sales figures for the PlayStation 2 version exceeded 1.7 million, only a few million copies were sold for the Xbox. Midnight Club 2 performed significantly better. The racing game was released in April 2003 and was the first game to feature the Rockstar San Diego logo. The racing game experts built on the strengths of the predecessor and created an excellent arcade racing game that thrilled many old fans and was able to attract new players. The reason for this is likely also the Xbox and PC ports, which are set to be released in June 2001. In July, they turned Midnight Club into a multi-platform title. Then in August, State of Emergency was released for PC and sold even worse than on the Xbox. This was certainly a reason why Rockstar Games stayed away from the sequel. The PC hit of the year followed in October with Max Payne 2. Unlike its predecessor, Rockstar also handled the distribution on PC before the game was released on Xbox in November, for which Rockstar Vienna was responsible. Although they also released the GTA Double Pack for Xbox in the same month, the Xbox version of Max Payne 2 was very well done, as reflected in the reviews and sales figures, demonstrating that the Vienna studio understood its craft and the Xbox hardware quite well. Also in October, Manhunt, a somewhat different stealth game from Rockstar North, was released for the PlayStation 2. Like GTA before it, the dark and extremely brutal Manhunt also caused quite a stir. In the skin of James Earl Cash, one had to survive in a series of snuff films by coldly killing members of various gangs on camera. The blatant depiction of violence led to Manhunt being banned in various countries, including Germany, where the game is subject to a distribution ban. In December, Rockstar Vienna finally released a PS port of Max Payne 2, which technically could not quite keep up with the Xbox version, but was still very playable. In 2001, Nintendo fans received a spin-off of the first Max Payne game for the Game Boy Advance, developed by a studio called Mobius Entertainment, a developer we will soon hear and see much more from. In March 2004, Take-Two acquired Mobius Entertainment and transformed it into Rockstar Leeds, a studio that would focus entirely on the development of portable Rockstar games. An initial project was set to be released in 2005, but in April further ports were released first, namely the Xbox and PC versions of Manhunt, which also did not become major hits. Similarly, in May, the racing game experts from Rockstar San Diego left their well-known field and released Red Dead Revolver, a straightforward Western third-person shooter for Xbox and PlayStation 2. After the project was put on hold at Capcom until 2003, Rockstar purchased the rights to the franchise from the Japanese company and had Rockstar San Diego complete the game. What emerged was a linear Wild West shooter with plenty of impact and great presentation. However, the great success of a GTA did not materialize. Speaking of which, the last two Rockstar games of the year 2000 were released at the end of October. Developed by Digital Eclipse, GTA Advance was released on the GBA, and although it visually resembled the first two installments, it was a completely standalone game in terms of gameplay and content, serving as a prequel to GTA 3. The story took place 1 year before the events of Grand Theft Auto 3, which surely tempted fans to give the handheld spin-off a try. PlayStation 2 owners enjoyed GTA San Andreas, which was once again developed by Rockstar North and threw fans back to the year 1992. In the skin of CJ, one had to assert oneself in the fictional city of San Andreas, which once again brought a lot of fun to the gameplay. Whether one completed the main missions or spent time in the open world, GTA San Andreas was the largest game of its kind to date and was once again showered with accolades. In 3 years, the developers at Rockstar North produced 4 games, 3 of which were GTA games that sold millions of copies. One can only take their hat off to this achievement. And the software supply continued uninterrupted. With Rockstar North, San Diego, Toronto, Vienna, and Leeds, Rockstar Games now had 5 internal studios that operated completely independently, ensuring that new and high-quality games were released year after year, even though the first collaboration between 2 studios was not to see the light of day until 2005. First of all, however, Rockstar San Diego took to the starting line and let Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition race into the drives of the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. With the third installment, the developers delivered the best result to date. Midnight Club 3 had everything right. It was visually stunning, offered 3 open locations, a plethora of racing events, and endless customization options for tuning the cars. In June, a PSP port of the racing game followed, which was the first game from Rockstar Leeds, the studio that Take-Two had established specifically for such cases. It was the first PSP project by Rockstar Leeds and also the first portable Midnight Club game. Despite the rather average ratings, it was definitely worth a look for racing game fans and became the best launch title during the PSP launch. Rockstar North was also active and released Sun and Rares for Xbox and PC in June 2005. This time, the creators of GTA took matters into their own hands, resulting in 2 flawless ports of the open-world masterpiece. And do you still remember Rockstar Toronto, which was responsible for the 2 GTA mission packs in 1999 under its old name? In October, the studio released The Warriors, the first true original development for Xbox and PS. It was a licensed video game adaptation of the 1909 film of the same name set in New York called The Warriors. This action-adventure game had a strong beat-em-up focus and received high ratings upon release, skillfully demonstrating that Rockstar Games could also develop good licensed games without losing the essence of the original. Just a week later, Rockstar North and Rockstar Leeds spoke up again when Grand Theft Auto: Liberty City Stories was released on the PSP. It was not only the first portable GTA in full 3D graphics, but also the result of a collaboration between 2 Rockstar studios. Thanks to the experience of the handheld specialists at Rockstar Leeds, Rockstar North succeeded in packing the full-fledged Grand Theft Auto experience onto the tiny UMD. In 2001, Liberty City Stories was released as a prequel to GTA 3 and provided the complete gaming experience for your pocket. The developers even managed to include a multiplayer mode in the game, which could be played with up to 6 players via the ad hoc mode of the PSP. It was not surprising that the PSP game was showered with praise and managed to sell over 8 million copies, making Liberty City Stories the most successful PSP game of all time. The year 2001 marked the end of software supply for 2005, but 2 interesting things happened beyond that. On one hand, Take-Two established Rockstar London in November as the first truly new internal studio that was not preceded by an acquisition. And on the other hand, many sources on the internet reported that Take-Two founded Rockstar Japan in 2005 in the land of the rising sun to localize games for the Japanese market. They placed importance on collaboration with Capcom, which has also led to various statements online. Some say that Rockstar Japan existed as a studio, while others claim that a studio was never established because Capcom secured the distribution rights to Rockstar Games in Japan, leaving Rockstar with no benefit in having a separate studio in Japan. I have not found a reliable source confirming that Rockstar Japan actually existed as a studio, so this information should be taken with caution. In 2006, the machinery was running at full speed, and Rockstar Games was able to maintain an output of 3 to 4 new games per year. It all started in March when Rockstar San Diego released Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix, a kind of director's cut of the successful racing game. In addition to various minor changes in gameplay, the developers provided the game with a new location in Tokyo and 24 new vehicles, turning an already very good racing game into a dream for racing game fans. Unfortunately, there was no PSP version of the remix. In May, Rockstar San Diego followed up and released Rockstar Games Presents Table Tennis for the Xbox 360. This was not only the first Rockstar game in HD graphics, but also another collaboration project developed in partnership with Rockstar San Diego and Rockstar Vienna, which delivered exactly what was promised on the box: table tennis. The sports game was praised for its graphics as well as its realistic ball physics, and it was also the first title built with the brand new Rockstar Advanced Game Engine, abbreviated as RAGE. But it wasn't just a graphics demo, it was a damn good sports game, even though the release caused a lot of surprise at the time, as people were used to different games from Rockstar Games. After the release of the game, a report created a negative atmosphere as Take-Two shut down Rockstar Vienna in May 2005. The reason given was cost reduction, which meant that the Rockstar family had shrunk by one member, even though the Vienna studio would not be the only one that had to close its doors, but more on that later. GTA fans who were still actively playing on the PS in 2006 could look forward to the release of the PSP hit GTA Liberty City Stories in June, especially since the port was offered at a budget price, thereby expanding the Grand Theft Auto series on the PlayStation by a fourth installment. In October, the next PS hit followed, this time from Rockstar Vancouver, which was purchased by Take-Two as Barking Dog Studios in 2002. The new game was called Bully and was once again an action-adventure in an open world, very much in the style of Grand Theft Auto, even though the premise was different. Instead of navigating the gangster underworld, in Bully, which was called Canis Canem Edit in Europe, you had to assert yourself as a student in a school. And as was now customary with Rockstar, Bully also came with its share of controversies. And although the game had many parallels to GTA and was well received by the press, Bully did not sell nearly as well as GTA. But that did not mean it flopped. On the PS, the game sold 1.5 million copies. Although a planned Xbox version was cancelled, the following years would bring remastered versions. More on that later. As the last highlight, the second GTA game for the PSP was released at the end of October. In Vice City Stories, Rockstar North and Rockstar Leeds once again immersed you in the world of Vice City, with the game set 2 years before the events of the PS and Xbox hit. New was also the requirement to build an entire empire from the ground up, which, combined with the tried-and-true GTA formula and multiplayer, ensured that GTA Vice City Stories became a blockbuster once again and is still considered the second most successful PSP game to this day. Right after Liberty City Stories. In 2007, it was a relatively quiet year for Rockstar Games, primarily characterized by ports. In February, a PSP version of The Warriors was released. The implementation came, as expected, from Rockstar Leeds and was convincing both technically and in gameplay, as the handheld team was closely linked with Rockstar Toronto, who had developed the PlayStation 2 version. A month later, Rockstar Leeds delivered another port, this time for the PS. The good old PlayStation 2 also received GTA Vice City Stories again at a budget price, raising the number of available GTA games on the console to 5. In October, a Nintendo console, the Wii, was also graced by Rockstar Leeds. The studio was responsible for the port of Rockstar Games' Table Tennis, and as expected, it was also a good one that skillfully utilized the Wiimote. Graphically, it may not be top-notch, but the game fit perfectly with the Wii and its motion controls. At the end of October, the last game of 2007 was released, but this time it was a new development that had already begun in 2004 at Rockstar Vienna. After Take-Two closed the Vienna studio, Rockstar London took on the project and completed the development of Manhunt 2, which was released at the end of the month for the PlayStation 2. Rockstar Leeds simultaneously delivered a PSP port, which was, by the way, the fourth game that Rockstar Leeds released in 2007. The EV also received Manhunt 2, this time from Rockstar Toronto. And just like its predecessor, Manhunt 2 caused a lot of controversy and was banned in various countries, including Germany, which is why I do not want to go into more detail about the game. So far, Rockstar Games has only released one true next-gen game, which is Table Tennis. That was set to change in 2008 as the New York Stalkers had 3 new titles ready for Xbox 360 and PS. First, Bully. The Honor Roll was released in March as a remaster of the PS game. Gameplay changes were made and the graphics were improved, at least on the Xbox 360, where the studio Mad Dog Software was responsible for the remaster. The Wii also received the remaster, of course with adjustments in the controls, with Rockstar Toronto being involved here. After Bully was released on the Xbox 360, Take-Two quickly acquired Mad Dog Software and renamed it Rockstar New England, which would henceforth operate solely as a support developer for Rockstar North and San Diego. In April, the next blockbuster for Xbox 360 and PS, Grand Theft Auto, was released. Fourth, the long-awaited fourth installment of the successful series shone in HD and brought Liberty City back with a level of detail that fans could not have wished for. In the skin of Niko Bellic, one had to build a life in the USA while simultaneously tracking down a war traitor, which turned out to be significantly more difficult than expected. Liberty City was once again filled to the brim with main and side missions, as well as numerous other activities, even though the sheer size of the game world was smaller than that of San Andreas. GTA featured significantly more details and livelier environments, which thrilled both fans and the press. GTA suddenly transformed into a sales success and offered immense replay value with its multiplayer mode, even outside of the main storyline. It's no wonder that the game has received top ratings and has sold over 25 million copies. But Rockstar had another highlight in store, which launched in the form of Midnight Club Los Angeles in October. Developed once again by Rockstar San Diego, the arcade racing game offered fast-paced races in a beautifully rendered fictional city, complete with a full story mode and plenty of customization and tuning options. New features included day and night cycles, dynamic weather conditions, and heavy city traffic to bring even more life to Los Angeles. Unfortunately, Midnight Club Los Angeles was to become the fourth and final game in the Midnight Club series. At least the PSP received its own version, which this time was not developed by Rockstar Leeds, but by Rockstar London. Unfortunately, Midnight Club LA Remix was a heavily cut version of the HD original, featuring only a small section of Los Angeles and also including Tokyo, with the location simply taken from Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. Additionally, there were further cuts, which made the game still enjoyable, but it no longer managed to truly excite anyone. The year ended with the 2001 PC version of GTA 4, which was released in December and was ported by Rockstar Toronto this time, unfortunately reflecting in the quality of the game. The PC port fared somewhat worse than the console versions. 2009 was all about GTA. The fourth installment sold exceptionally well, and Rockstar North was dedicated to providing fans with additional content. An exclusive deal with Microsoft ensured that this additional content was available only on the Xbox 360 for a year. And so, in February, Rockstar released the GTA 4 episode The Lost and Damned, which was again set in Liberty City, but no longer featured Niko Bellic as the main character. As biker Johnny Klebitz, players were thrown into an hour-long adventure filled with violence, betrayal, and intrigue, which thrilled fans and left PS and PC players enviously waiting. In March, Nintendo fans were once again able to engage with a new GTA adventure. From another collaboration between Rockstar Leeds and Rockstar North, Grand Theft Auto, Chinatown Wars was created and was released exclusively on Nintendo's portable handheld. Visually, Chinatown Wars returned to its roots and presented a top-down view. In terms of gameplay, it was a full-fledged GTA game in a pocket-sized format with an exciting story that is still considered one of the best in the GTA universe. The game successfully demonstrated that this type of video game could indeed work on a Nintendo system, even though it unfortunately sold below average. In the first year, only a few units were sold worldwide, which for a GTA game was almost considered a flop. In September, Rockstar Games proved that they were also open to innovative game concepts alongside successful series like GTA and Midnight Club. Biterator was released by Rockstar Leeds for the PSP and iOS devices, making Biterator the first Rockstar product to be launched in the mobile market. It was a music mixer developed in collaboration with the musician Timbaland, allowing PSP and iOS owners to create their own beats and share them with the community through a connection to the Rockstar Games social hub. Biterator was well received by the press, and the PSP version received many positive reviews. However, the music tool was not really developed further in the following years. It remained a one-hit wonder. In keeping with the well-known Rockstar tradition, October was once again packed with releases. First, the Midnight Club Los Angeles Complete Edition was released, bringing new content and gameplay adjustments. Unfortunately, this was also the final release of a spin-off from this brilliant racing game series. On October 20th, Rockstar Leeds and Rockstar North released GTA Chinatown Wars on the PSP to counter the looming Nintendo DS flop. Aside from a graphical adjustment for the PSP hardware, the PSP port offered a few extra side missions, but it was not expected to receive the same hype as Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories before it. The second add-on for GTA performed significantly better when it was released under the name GTA 4, The Ballad of Gay Tony on October 29th, exclusively for the Xbox 360. In terms of quality, the side story was once again very high quality and provided just over 8 hours of entertainment, which further demonstrated that GTA still worked best on consoles. So far, Rockstar Games has always managed to release 3 to 4 new games per year. That was set to change starting in 2010. While ports of already available games continued to be released, the actual new releases were reduced to 1 game per year. The reason for this was certainly the quality of the new games, which were developed with the involvement of all internal Rockstar studios, as we will see shortly. But first, in January, a port was released as GTA Chinatown Wars was launched for iOS devices and was adapted by a studio called War Drum Studios. The developers specialized in mobile ports and were to be involved more frequently by Rockstar Games in the following years, so remember the name. In April, the 2 GTA 4 add-ons, The Lost and Damned and The Ballad of Gay Tony, were finally released for PlayStation 3 and PC, with Rockstar North handling the PlayStation 3 version, while Rockstar New England and Toronto programmed the PC versions. The big highlight of the year was released in May with Red Dead Redemption. Essentially, it was the successor to Red Dead Revolver, the straightforward third-person shooter that Rockstar San Diego had developed under its old name. But San Diego created an open-world epic with the sequel that would remain in the memory of many fans for a long time and would once again turn the video game world upside down. Red Dead Redemption was the first major project by Rockstar Games that involved not just 1 or 2, but 4 internal Rockstar studios. Although Rockstar San Diego was in the lead, Lee leads from New England and the GTA creators from Rockstar North contributed, which was reflected in the quality of the Wild West epic. It was a GTA with a Western look, and with all its strengths, Red Dead Redemption ultimately established Rockstar San Diego as one of the most important studios of Rockstar Games, placing it on the same level as Rockstar North. Speaking of Rockstar North, the creators of GTA released bonus content for Red Dead Redemption in October 2010, introducing the unique DLC Undead Nightmare, which managed to excite both fans and the press. The Rockstar Gaming year 2010 concluded in November with 3 additional ports. GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas could now also be played on Mac devices thanks to a studio called Trans Gaming. And if you have never heard of Trans Gaming before, well, the studio is now operating as a real estate company and has had nothing to do with gaming since 2016. In 2011, things revolved entirely around L.A. Noire, a film noir adventure set in 1940s Los Angeles that impressed with its incredible facial animations. In development since 2004 at Team Bondi, various Rockstar studios assisted in completing the game, and after its release in May on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, console owners were presented with another hit, even though the action-adventure never reached the hype and popularity of a GTA or Red Dead Redemption. The reason for this was, among other things, the limited open world, which disappointed many open world fans. Additionally, the game suffered from cumbersome controls during gunfights and driving sequences. On the other hand, the storyline, the impressive facial animations of 2011, and the dense atmosphere were praised, which has made L.A. Noire a playable crime story to this day. And basically, that was all that Rockstar Games had in store for 2011. In November, the PC port of L.A. Noire was released, which was handled by Rockstar Leeds, and in December, GTA 3 was ported to iOS devices to celebrate the 10th anniversary of War Drum Studios. That was it. Rockstar's hot item in 2012 was Max Payne 3, which was set to be released in May. As a small preview, the first part was released on iOS devices in April. And yes, the War Drum Studios were also responsible for the port here. In May, the long-awaited third installment was finally released for Xbox 360, PS, and PC. Unlike the first 2 Max Payne games, this time several Rockstar Studios were involved in the development instead of just Remedy Entertainment. As a result, Max Payne 3 was the first game in 2012 where Rockstar Games used the label Rockstar Studios to emphasize that the game emerged from a large collaboration. As for the reaction from the player community and the press, there were indeed parallels to L.A. Noire from the previous year. The game was celebrated by many fans, while others missed any subtlety and narrative ambitions that they had come to expect from GTA 4 or Red Dead Redemption. Max Payne 3 was a very good action title, but unfortunately it did not emerge from the shadow of other Rockstar Games productions. And as has been customary for the past 2 years, the release of Max Payne 3 was accompanied by 2 releases for mobile devices. In July, the Android version of Max Payne was released, while in December, GTA Vice City was launched on iOS and Android systems to celebrate its 10th anniversary. Additionally, Take-Two took action in 2012 and closed the next internal Rockstar studio after Rockstar Vienna. Thus, Rockstar Vancouver was dissolved and the staff was offered the opportunity to join Rockstar Toronto. With the year 2012, the next phase of Rockstar Games also came to an end. For 12 years, Rockstar Games released great games year after year and created a large repertoire of series, including fan favorites like GTA, Midnight Club, and Red Dead Redemption. But other smaller projects like Bully and Manhunt were also able to impress, not to mention LA Noire and Max Payne 3. But the really big hits during these 12 years were actually represented by only 2 franchises, GTA and Red Dead Redemption. They were the ones who brought in the big money and sold millions. The focus for Rockstar was clear, and when GTA 5 was on the starting blocks, no one knew how big this game would eventually become. So we have now reached the final third of the 25-year-long Rockstar marathon, and I think most of you can guess why I made the cut right here. After all, we all know what game was released in September 2013 for Xbox 360 and PS, Grand Theft Auto V. Prior to that, there was a Mac port of Max Payne 3 in June, but to be honest, it probably interested very few people at the time. The situation is quite different with GTA 5, as Rockstar North released a companion app called GTA iPhone 2001 Root for iOS devices just 1 day before the release, which allowed players to enhance their experience in GTA 5. And what can I tell you about GTA 5 that hasn't already been said thousands of times? The game hit like a meteor and became the second most successful video game of all time, right after Minecraft. So far, it has sold over 190 million copies, bringing immense wealth to both Rockstar Games and Take-Two. But you already know all of this. Unfortunately, this enormous success also brought a downside. Since 2013, over the past 10 years, Rockstar Games has released only one new game, which I will discuss shortly. Aside from that, there has been only one theme in GTA over the last decade. Whether it's GTA Online, the online mode of GTA 5 that launched on October 1st, 2013, and has since been continuously updated with new content month after month and year after year, or the numerous ports of older GTA games. Rockstar's output consisted almost entirely of 3 letters, particularly in December 2013, when Drum Studios released GTA San Andreas on iOS devices, thereby completing the world-famous trilogy on mobile devices. Unfortunately, 2014 didn't look much different. In January, GTA San Andreas was released for Android and Windows phones, and in April, the companion app GTA iFruit was also made available for the PS Vita, which was ported by Lucid Games and was to be the only Rockstar product on Sony's handheld. In May, GTA San Andreas was released on Amazon Fire TV, before the mobile version by Wardrum Studios was ported to Xbox 360, including numerous bugs. In November, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of GTA 5 and GTA Online followed, which of course resulted in a smoother gaming experience due to the stronger hardware power and brought even more dollars into the coffers of Rockstar Games. Finally, GTA Chinatown Wars was released in December 2014 on the Android Play Store, and slowly Rockstar Games ran out of GTA games that they could port to mobile devices. So in 2005, they continued with the PC port of GTA 5 and GTA Online. 2 years after the successful release, PC gamers were finally able to cause chaos in Los Santos before the end of December. In 2015, the Wardrum Studios made a comeback and released GTA Liberty City Stories on iOS devices, while PS owners received their version of San Andreas. 2016 arrived and Rockstar Games picked up where they had left off in 2015. Ports of Liberty City Stories were released on Android devices in February, while Fire TV devices were delighted in March, this time in the year 2021. At least there was a small piece of news to report in August aside from mobile GTA releases. Take-Two opened a studio in Bengaluru, India, called Rockstar India, and subsequently positioned it as a support studio alongside Rockstar San Diego, which was diligently working on the successor to Red Dead Redemption. And before the year 2016 ended, Drum Studios came around and released the Bully Anniversary Edition. Mobile devices? Yeehaw. In 2017, the GTA port marathon finally came to an end, as Rockstar simply ran out of systems to which they could port GTA San Andreas and other older titles. Well, aside from Nintendo's consoles, but we'll get to that later. However, in November, the next port was released, this time of LA, Noire, which was reissued for Switch, PS, and Xbox One. A studio called Virtual was responsible for this, as Rockstar had its studios working on another major project, although Rockstar San Diego, Toronto North, and Leeds provided support in the development. In December, L.A. Noire, the VR case files was released, and while one might classify the VR game for HTC Vive as a new development, it was essentially a VR port of Eleanor, which admittedly could impress and was released for Oculus Rift in March of the following year. And then came October of the year 2000. After a long drought of 8 years without a successor, Red Dead Redemption 2 finally appeared and was for many fans what they had envisioned in their wildest dreams. A perfect sequel to one of the best games of all time. Red Dead Redemption took place 12 years before the events of the first part and introduced a new playable character, Arthur Morgan, whose adventures were woven into a very exciting, overarching narrative and set against one of the most beautiful and vibrant open worlds ever seen in a video game. Rockstar Games had its internal studios pool their resources for this project, and it paid off. May 2019 saw the launch of Red Dead Online, the online mode of Red Dead Redemption 2, and the addition of content to GTA Online before PSVR owners received their version of L. The VR case files of LA Noire were released in September, and Red Dead Redemption 2, along with Red Dead Online, was subsequently released for PC and Stadia in November. In February 2020, there was bad news for all Rockstar fans when it was announced that Dan Houser had left Rockstar Games. The co-founder of the successful publishing label was one of the most important figures at Rockstar and was responsible as a writer for the storylines of Bully, Max Payne 3, Red Dead Redemption, and all GTA games. Whether and how much Dan Houser's expertise will be missed by Rockstar Games will be revealed by 2025 at the latest, when GTA 6 finally releases for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. In October 2020, Take-Two made headlines when they announced the acquisition of the studio Ruffian Games and its renaming to Rockstar Dundee. At that time, Ruffian Games was known for numerous games that were released for Microsoft consoles, including Crackdown 2, which they developed, as well as various Kinect games, the Master Chief Collection, and Crackdown 3, where they served as support developers. They are capable people whom Take-Two has since employed as support developers. To celebrate the 20th anniversary of GTA 3, Rockstar Games bundled GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas into a trilogy and released it as the definitive edition in November 2021 on all current consoles as well as PC. This marked the first time the games were also available on a home Nintendo console. Unfortunately, the ports suffered from extremely poor technology and numerous bugs. Instead of having the remastered versions developed internally at Rockstar Leeds, Toronto, or directly at Rockstar North as in the past, Rockstar Games hired the studio Groove Street Games, which did not cover itself in glory. Groove Street Games were no strangers to Rockstar, as they were formerly known as Drum Studios and had ported numerous GTA games for mobile devices. That's why I told you to remember the name. However, the work on the remastered versions for consoles was probably a bit too much for the mobile experts, which was reflected in harsh criticism when the definitive edition was released, disappointing many fans. At least PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X owners could be pleased when Rockstar Games released GTA 5 for the third time in 2022, undoubtedly bringing the best version of the game to the market, which greatly benefited from the stronger hardware and further enhanced the experience. And 2023? Well, aside from the annual anniversary in December, Wargrove Games released the definitive edition of the GTA trilogy on December 14th for mobile devices, and I hope that these versions perform better than their console counterparts from 2 years ago. And then there is the trailer for GTA 6, which was leaked early and released by Rockstar Games on December 4th, 2023, earlier than planned. The second Longdao video got over 60 million views and 2 million likes, setting a new world record. The whole world is watching Rockstar Games and the upcoming GTA 6, which will feature 2 playable characters, take place in Vice City, and is set to be released in 2025. Additionally, the developers at Remedy Entertainment are working on 2 full remakes of Max Payne 1 and 2, which are set to be released in the future through Rockstar Games. The future looks bright for Rockstar Games. After 25 years in the video game business, the publisher has gained worldwide fame thanks to games like GTA and Red Dead Redemption, and rightly so. I would wish that we would see a few games outside of GTA or Red Dead in the coming years. A new Midnight Club, Bully, or Max Payne 4 would be great. And even though the latter is certainly not entirely unrealistic, I think the train has finally left the station for Midnight Club. What do you all think? What is your relationship with Rockstar Games? Which games would you like to see return? Or are Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption 2 enough for you? Tell me in the comments and feel free to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. I just wanted to provide a comprehensive overview of the past 25 years at Rockstar Games, and I think I succeeded in doing so. If I forgot something, please let me know in the comments. I am now looking forward to your feedback and your experiences with the games discussed here. Get typing, and until next time, adios.